Welcome back to EPG program in Japanese. Paper 5, Communication through Translation. Honyaku Tsujite no Communication. Module 30, Learn while Practicing. Will be covering legal translation in this module. Jissen Shinagara Gakshusuru. Horitsubu no Honyaku. And the paper is developed together with Anukumari, the trainee in ongoing translation training program of CSER NISCARE. This module covers application of CPCI theory and translation techniques for translating legal documents, simplification through combination and permutation, and looking through the prism of CPCI remains the same component. Handling the content would be taxation in this particular module. The objectives and the outcome remain the same, almost same as these were before, except for the fact that the application of these techniques is possible in the case of legal documents. Also, we would like to prove this. Let me recapitulate from the previous module what we have done in the last module. Regardless of domain, 5W1H technique helps in translation, though it is mechanical. Longer answer per question, I would say shortcut is possible, but only after familiarization. Higher the degree of familiarity, fewer the questions, which means in-depth knowledge of source language and target language is prerequisite. At least near standard translation can be obtained through application of the techniques. It is the fine tuning that makes the difference, and that comes through the individual touch. Nitaishteva acts as a topic and may be dropped during transpositioning if it comes directly to the relevant verb. If it connects directly to the relevant verb. Longer phrases can be considered as units, particularly if the representation is core. For example, soze o kasuru koto ga dekiru, or soze o kasuru, which means to tax. Then something o koenai mono to suru, that means shall not exceed that particular something. Normally it is ikanu mono o koenai mono to suru, or shall not exceed the following, and it could be some figure also. Then core and contextual, Juekisha can mean two things, but one is beneficiary, which is the core equivalent, and the other, which was used here also, was beneficial owner, that means contextual. Then CPCA advantage, appropriate equivalent, it improves the quality and renders free translation. CPCA parameters can be used to evaluate quality in terms of accuracy, readability, and style. Let's see some examples of legal sentence. Okay, I don't think I can even read this. This seems too complicated. Yeah, I think the translation, this is the translation which has been tried, but I don't think we can. Can you read out the English part?
Local public agency or the resident of a contracting state, royalty as well as fee for technical services will be considered to arise in that contracting state.
Stop. I don't think I can make out what you're speaking in English. So let's break the sentence into, it's too long, too confusing. So let's break it into simple segments. Yeah, let's try. Oh, it's so simple. I think there was a full stop in between, so that even the period was not visible when you were looking these 3 plus 4, 7, 8 lines. Now we can see that there are 3 lines and then there are a few more lines, and there's 2 plus 2 lines, approximately 2 line sentences. Let's try this sentence first. Yeah, let's, would you like to go with 5W1H directly?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's start. Please apply the question and also answer.
First question is nani ni tsuite. Answer would be shioryo oyobi gijitsu jou no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin wa.
Okay, and the translation comes as royalties and fees for technical services. There is an issue in terms of equivalence, but we'll discuss them later. Let's go further.
Nanto sareru. Togai ippo no teiyaku koku ni oite shojita mono to sareru.
Okay.
Next is donna bai sono shiharai ga ippo no teiyaku koku matawa togai ippo no teiyaku koku no chiho seifu chiho kokyo dantai moshikuwa ijusha de aru bai ni wa.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to tell all of you to just make a note that there's a small clause here. Iju shade arubaini. Just keep it in mind. Yeah, please read the comments.
First comment is frame plus 5W1H could have been used. Precisely, Nani Nani Ryokin wa Nani Nani Monoto Sareru is the frame and Donna Bai will be the question for the remaining part. Next is as the frame could be captured easily, only 5W1H was applied while
So,
keeping the.
let me just explain. The first is that frame plus 5W1H could have been applied, could have been used. Precisely, it would have given Ryokin wa something something monoto sareru. Now, if you if you can keep this frame in your mind while you are putting 5W1H questions, then the frame exclusively or separately need not be applied. Just keep this in your mind and then apply the 5W1H. This serves the purpose. Yeah, next one.
Next is, in other words, question 1 and question 2 together cover the frame.
Okay. Question 1 and question 2 covers the frame, and the question 3, that is Donna Bai, this gives some other detail in between, and then we can talk about some of the terms where we have used the implicit equivalents.
Terms are Shioryo equals to royalty, Gijitsu Jo no Yakumu equals to
which means technical services.
Togai Ippo means a.
Okay. This is important. See, just read out once again the Togai Ippo in the running sentence. Where was it?
Second answer.
Okay. Togai Ippo no te aku koku ni oite. So when you talk of Togai Ippo, Togai normally is translated as said. Something which has been talked about or said or the applicable, and Ippo is one. So that means we are talking of two entities. There is one country and the other country. So Togai Ippo is one country. Now this Togai Ippo gets translated as a country, which means it implies that we are talking about a particular country out of the two. Okay. Next one.
Ippo no teiyaku koku in sono shiharaisha ga ippo no something no bai wa means that contracting state, and here that is also implicit.
Okay, now this is interesting. Now this is coming in the continuation. We have already talked about Togai Koku, Togai Ippo. Togai Ippo no, what was it? Togai Ippo no, yes. So it was Togai Ippo no Keiyaku Koku. So Togai Ippo has come already. Now in the second sentence it's coming as Ippo no Teiyaku Koku, and that is coming in between Sono Shiharai Shaga, Ippo no Teiyaku Koku no Baiwa. Or there's something in continuation, but Sono Shiharai Shaga Ippo no, when it comes like this, then no need to repeat this. That contracting state, that is also implicit here. That means we are referring back to the one which we have already talked about. Yeah, it's too small for me, so this is just joined. I think the three clauses or the three questions were answered in the previous slide. Those answers have been joined to render this translation, and this is some fine tuning and some transpositioning also done. Now, yeah, read out the comments, please.
Translation output through 5W1H gives a clear understanding. With little more efforts, content can be recreated. This obviously will lead to better readability and style.
Yeah, what it means is that if you do the translation with the help of 5W1H, this means you are applying a logical method. And if you use the same 5W1H in rendering the translation in English also, accuracy is ensured. And to some extent, readability also is not bad. But if you do some more efforts, the content can be recreated. That means it can become a free translation as if you have written originally in the target language, in this case in English, and you will be covering whatever has been done or whatever has been said in the original. Okay, we go now to the second part of the first example, that is sentence 2, begins with Tadashi and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So again, it's too complicated. All Chinese characters lined up. Does it make some sense to you, or we would like to break it, or you would like to start with 5W1H?
First, I would like to start with 5W1H.
She's more confident, so let's try. Okay. Okay. Let me put the questions you answer. Okay. Tareka.
Shioryo matawa Gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin no shiharaisha ga
Donna bai.
Ippo no teiyaku kokunai ni kokyū teki shisetsu matawa kotei teki shisetsu o you suru bai ni oite
Nani ga.
Tougai shioryo matawa gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin o shiharau saimu ga
You know what she's speaking. You know the slide has been prepared already. So she's reading the prepared slide. But if you have to translate this, and I'm not sure if you would be able to translate this. Let's try. You know how many questions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 7. There are 7 answers now available. Now let's try to put these 7 answers together. These 7 answers have been done or they have been answered, spending a lot of time. So let's see if we can join. And we found that it is too complicated. The synthesis with the help of these segments is complicated because the questions are too many, and the questions are not so simple, as well as the questions are simple but the answers are not so simple. Therefore, this is the joint sentence. And is it the same, Anu, which was coming in the beginning, or I think it's the same? So just read out the English.
The person paying the royalties or fees for the technical services. The person paying the royalties or fees for the technical services, whether he is a resident of a contracting state or not, for technical services. So it doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's not making sense. So what would you like to do now? You only said that will apply 5W1H.
Maybe we can combine more techniques.
Fine. So let me give you an idea. Try to pick up something that you understand. Just go to the next slide. What did you say? Frame capturing. Frame capturing means we are trying to imagine this 5-line sentence, you know, not as one segment, though there is no full stop, a very clear full stop. But let's see what is just need the a part which is picked up from the middle.
Togai shioryo.
Yeah, read it slowly. You know, all of you, when you're doing this module or when you're translating this particular sentence, mind it, you know, you may probably think that the translation is too tough, and you may even leave the translation domain itself because of such sentences. But trust me, it's not so. It appears so actually, because there are complicated words and the sentence is too long. If we start from the center, that is Togai Shioryo, this is beginning, it's probably from the second line after ni oite, yes? Just read it out.
Togai
And
shioryo.
read it slowly, yes?
Togai shioryo matawa gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin.
Fine. Okay, so this makes some sense. Togai Shioryo matawa gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin o. This means banana o, so ryokin o. Go further.
Shiharau saimo ga togai kokyū teki shisetsu matawa kotei teki shisetsu ni tsuite shoji.
Okay, now it appears complicated, but if I say saimo ga shoji, the shiharau saimo ga shoji, which means the payment liability generates, it arises, and then it is also giving 2 entities in between. Okay, next.
Katsu togai shioryo matawa gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin ga togai kokyū teki shisetsu matawa kotei teki shisetsu ni yotte futan sareru mono de aru toki wa.
Aru toki wa. So aru toki wa is when, and then the situation is when the burden is to be taken by, or when the liability is to be owned by niyotte. Before niyotte is some shisetsu, that is I think PE probably, permanent entity, or the other one is what? Kote?
Kotei teki,
so
fixed base.
Okay, so okay, go further. Now this sentence becomes quite understandable, and now if we go for the first sentence, that is the first part prior to this Togai Shioryo, just read out Tadashi Shioryo matawa
Gijitsu jo no yakumu ni taisuru ryokin no shiharaisha ga ippo no teiyaku kokunai ni kokyū teki shisetsu matawa kotei teki shisetsu o you suru bai ni oite.
So bai ni oite. So we are talking in such a case in this particular segment. And is there some other particular shaga? Okay. So shiharai shaga. Then it comes to Tanki uteki shitetsu matawa kote uteki shitetsu o yusuru bai ni oite. So there's a relationship. Shiara ishaga A or B when it possesses A or B o yusuru bai ni oite. Okay. Now remaining part. Now remaining part is again 1.5 line only. Yes, read it out.
当該使用料または技術上の役務に対する料金は、当該恒久的施設または肯定的施設の存在する当該一本の締約国において生じたものとされる。
Good. Now, if you see carefully, by doing this, by breaking the segment or the complete sentence into simpler segments, we are able to now accept it that we can translate. We can translate this particular big sentence, and that is to be done segment by segment. The principle what we used here is that you go through the sentence very carefully in a very light way without any pressure on you and pick up only such components or such segments which you understand. Go further if more segments are understood, and these segments could form microframes. Here first segment is picked up from the middle part, and you could see that the middle part was the first segment, and then we went to the top and then the bottom. And the principle here is that when you go for smaller sentences and some sentences that you have understood, the burden becomes lighter. The sentence becomes lighter and the burden also becomes lighter, and you are able to capture the main frame as well as the microframes easily. Now let's start the translation. The first one is the middle part, and we are going through the 5W1H technique. Yes.
何がいつ生じる Answer would be 当該使用料または技術上の役務に対する料金を支払う債務が当該恒久的施設または肯定的施設について生じる。
Okay, and the equivalence is?
In connection with which the liability to pay the royalties or fees for technical services was incurred.
Okay. そして
かつ当該使用料または技術上の役務に対する料金が
and the
equivalences and such royalties or fees for technical services.
So you can see out of those 8 lines, now 3 lines or 2.5 lines are done. One more question. Okay. どんな時
当該恒久的施設または肯定的施設によって負担されるものであるとき
Yeah,
は
I think this completes the complete sentence, complete segment. And just read out the full part.
In connection with which the liability to pay the royalties or fees for technical services was incurred, and such royalties or fees for technical services to be borne by such permanent establishment or fixed base.
So only when is added here, or when is put in the parenthesis in bracket, because when probably will not be required in the smooth run. It disturbs the readability, therefore it has to go from here. Okay, this is the first part actually. The second segment which we have picked up, but in the running translation it's the first part. Okay, Darega.
ただし、使用料または技術上の役務に対する料金の支払い者が equivalences. However, the person paying the royalties or fees for the technical services.
Ideally speaking, Tadashi should have been kept outside, and Tadashi can be translated as however. It depends, but in this particular case, it's however. And どんな場合において
一方の締約国内に恒久的施設または肯定的施設を有する場合において when has a permanent establishment or a fixed base in a contracting state.
When we join the two, when it comes,
however, the person paying the royalties or fees for the technical services when has a permanent establishment or a fixed base in a contracting state.
Okay. Now this makes sense clearly. And Anu, were you satisfied? The previous sentence, the middle segment, that was also making sense?
Yes, sir, I think so.
So let's go to the third segment now. Okay, Naniga.
当該使用料または技術上の役務に対する料金は such royalties or fees for technical services.
どんなものとされる
Togai kokyu teki shisetsu matawa ko tei teki shisetsu no sonzai suru togai ippo no teiyaku koko ni oite shojita mono to sareru.
And what is the, you can probably read the complete sentence.
Such royalties or fees for technical services shall be deemed to arise in the contracting state in which the permanent establishment or fixed base is situated.
When we, before we join, what we have got here is, you must remember that sentence was too long. Suddenly, we found that the concept of breaking into smaller segments, we suddenly found that there was a period in between. That means there's a separable sentence available already. That sentence has been done separately, and the second part or the second sentence in the paragraph is broken into three pieces. Now we have the translation of the three available as well as the first. So let's join all of these segments. Here, this is first, second, third, and this is the joining of this is the complete second sentence. And when we put the first and second, it comes like this. Now, this translation has been done. The first one has been done through this mechanism or this particular method, whereas there is a published translation available, and the only difference between the two is one sentence extra. Can you read the extra sentence?
Whether he is a resident of a contracting state or not.
Okay, whether he is a resident of contracting state or not. Now, I told you, if you recall, that you remember that there was a sentence in the original, in the beginning. Now that's coming here again. It's coming from the context. It's not there in this one, but it's coming from the earlier context, and maybe because when the published translation is done, maybe the author himself is writing, and he might have felt, probably we want to repeat the sentence which has come earlier. So that sentence from the previous context is coming here, which translator you will find it difficult to add here. So comment here are that both the translation are almost same. If translation is done through the techniques, one can achieve publish worthy translation. The quality wise it will be publish worthy quality. I would not say that a translator should add this whether he is a resident of a contracting state. What I mean here is that if you have applied these techniques and if you are in touch with the original writer or the subject expert, show it to the subject expert and tell him that read the context also together with this paragraph. And if he thinks that something needs to be deleted or added, as a if the author himself is there, you need to have the permission. But if you're showing it to only a subject expert, then I think this risk should not be taken. Maybe you can contact the author and then tell him that if we add this sentence or delete this sentence, the flow will be better or the translation will make better sense. And this should be done and it becomes a publish worthy translation. So now let's see the CPCI behavior for the components, for a few more components which we did not cover during the translation. Yes, let's see the first one.
Sono Shiharaisha.
Yeah, this is coming in the sentence, and that sentence is Shiryo Matawa Gijitsu no Yakuni Kaisu Ryokinwa. And this is translated as the taxpayer. Sono Shiharaisha is actually the payer, not the taxpayer. It's coming as a taxpayer because of the previous context. The context very clearly says that the person is actually a taxpayer and not the simply payer. Now, if we say here the payer, then it won't make very good sense. So the taxpayer fits contextual. Ni oite shojita monoto sareru. I think you must have seen ni oite. Ni oite is separate. Shojita monoto suru. So maybe deemed as arising out of, and in this case it is to sareru, that means shall be deemed to, and it shall be deemed to arise in, and in is coming from nioite. And this I would say that at the unit level, if this nioite shojita monoto sareru, if this is taken as, there could be various combinations like shojita monoto suru, shojita monoto sareru, nioite shojita monoto sareru, nioite shojita monoto suru. All the four are possible. If you take these four as units, then this will be very useful because you will not spend too much of time in understanding and writing it correctly. Shall be deemed to arise in is the core equivalent. And mono to sareru is actually nothing, is the part of the this one which is shall be deemed. Okay, this is coming from the second sentence, and the component is, yes, this is interesting. Yeah, please read the Japanese.
当該公共的施設または公定的
Wait. Up to Matawa, there is one entity, okay, and that is basically permanent entity or said permanent entity. Next.
または公定的施設について生じ
Okay, koteteki shisetsu means fixed entity or fixed body. Nisuite shoji. Nisuite shoji is fine, but it arises for these two, and these two is there's an or in between, so it arises either for A or for B. And what's the translation here?
Translation is in connection with which the liability to pay the royalties or fees for technical services was incurred.
Quite different. This is coming from the published translation, and if you see Nisuite shoji, it's coming as was incurred. Nisuite shoji means it arises, the liability arises, and then somebody pays. So instead of saying liability arises, it says was incurred. Incurred means it came as burden, okay? And in connection with which the liability to pay the royalties or fees is actually coming from the context, and it is implicit. Now, let me sum up the learning of this module. First is, the legal sentences or the patent sentences or the sentences in the taxation. They are all of same category. May not be exactly, but almost all are of same category, and it is quite difficult when you come across a paragraph running into say 5 or 8 lines to comprehend what he is saying. So when you translate, it becomes one is you translate word by word, the literal translation. And the literal translation only thing is that if you write word by word, then while reading also the individual reader has to read it word by word only. Then it will make sense to him. If he tries to read the sentence in one go, he will get bored, or he will feel annoyed, because it's quite depressing to read this English at times. Therefore, the learning here is, in one example, the frame could be captured easily. Therefore, only 5W1H was applied. While keeping the frame in mind, in fact, with little more efforts, content can be recreated with better readability. This is in the case of simple and smaller sentence. In complicated cases, frame plus 5W1H may have served better. So it is suggested that you should combine these techniques very prudently. Now, breaking longer sentence into segments, this is what I was discussing in the beginning. Breaking longer sentence into segments also helps. And the principle remains that pick up the easier segment first and go for picking up further segments if more segments are understood. Now, these segments could form microframes, and the lighter the frame itself, or lighter the segment you have picked up, better it is to understand and to translate. In learning text, implicit use is always very common, and some examples seen in this module are listed below. One was shioryo, that means royalty. Then gijitsu jo no yakumu is technical services. Royalty is not truly speaking the right equivalent for shioryo, but in the context it becomes shioryo as royalty. Therefore, this as well as the next one are the implicit equivalent, and togai ippo, which has been translated as A, is also an implicit equivalent. Then ippo no teyakuku. Yes, please read out the.
Ippo no teiyaku koku in sono shiharai sha ga ippo no something no bai wa means that contracting state.
Okay, that contracting state, and that is the again implicit in this.
Sono shiharai sha means the taxpayer.
Yeah, in place of the taxpayer, in the place of payer, it's coming as the taxpayer, and it's coming from the context.
Ni oite shojita mono to sareru means shall be deemed to arise in.
Okay, and this is the core equivalent for this unit.
Next is togai kokyu teki shisetsu matawa kotei teki shisetsu ni tsuite shoji means.
Okay, now this is a bit complicated, so you can say A matawa B ni suite shoji, and the equivalent will be in connection with which the liability to pay the royalties or fees for technical services was incurred. Now, both are going away from here. So this is the implicit example of implicit only. This, of course, should not be stored as a unit or as a corpus, because this will be, it all depends upon the context. So depending upon the context, you need to decide whether you will be, if you're able to use the core meaning, nothing like that. But if you're, and if you can end up rendering the translation with the peripheral equivalents, then also it's workable. But as soon as you go to contextual or implicit, it will be dangerous to take the freedom. So it's always advisable to use the techniques, that is 5W1H and also the frame. These are the references for this particular module, and thank you very much for being with me in this module. See you again in module 31. Thank you very much.